Good morning, everybody. It's week 17. I hope everyone is having a fantastic morning. It's starting to still be dark outside when I get up, so I had to wait a little while so that we could have some light outside to show you guys what we got going on outside, and I'm going to get started right away, but I want to know, winter's coming. Do you love it or do you hate it? Drop it in the comments. I'm going to switch you guys around and we'll get started. Okay, so I was really excited to get this stuff started, and after probably a week or two of having these plants indoors, I'm starting to see all the potential complications that come along with planting things indoors. So we definitely have our work cut out for us to try to keep these things alive, I think. At first, I noticed that the soil was staying really moist and it wasn't drying as fast as it probably should be, so I was concerned about mold. I then made sure the ceiling fan was on. I brought another fan in here. Then I noticed that was fine, but then we started noticing that there's slight, I don't know if it's fungal or something, but I've had to come in here every day and break off these branches so that it's not spreading, which it seems to be anyways, but it's at least slowing down. So I'm not positive if these are going to survive. Maybe they'll recuperate. I'm not sure. But I keep seeing these. So if anybody knows what these are, I don't know if they're like spiders. I hope they're not spiders. But I keep seeing these, but I haven't seen any actual evidence of bugs besides that. Except for, guys, I'm going to cry because I thought I did so good at checking these for bugs. And I learned my lesson. Do you see those, you guys? Those are freaking aphids. They're everywhere. I sprayed these already and they're not looking as bad anymore. And by spray, obviously I grow organically, so when I say spray, I mean just a spray bottle with a little bit of Dawn dish soap and reverse osmosis water, and this will destroy the aphids without hurting our plants or making them icky at all. But I was looking into also the reason why our flower buds are starting to turn brown and fall off before they're even pollinated, which I have been hand pollinating these. So I'm not exactly sure. I read that it could be a magnesium deficiency, so I went ahead and took some Epsom salts and watered them all, so we'll see if that makes a difference. But, I mean, you can see all the flower buds are just falling off. Even some of the fruit that was starting to set fell off. And then you can see this one was like rotted. So that's got to be a nutritional deficiency because this soil isn't wet anymore. So I'm not quite sure. We're going to keep trying to figure this stuff out and see if we can keep it alive. And if not, like I said, it's all just learning experiences. And next year, hopefully, we'll have a better go at it. I know I should probably get another light and maybe put some tinfoil up on the walls. That would definitely help with the light. So I'm hoping that we can get these to rebound a little bit, because I mean, we've got tons of peppers and flowers, and the kohlrabi bulbs are growing, and everything's doing really good despite the bugs and the fungus. Which I guess that means it's not really doing good, but they're alive, so that's what matters. So that means we have time to see if we can fix the problem. But I am going to bring you out in the living room. Well, my kitchen, actually. It's one room, but I'm going to switch you guys around. Okay, I ain't trying to show everybody my whole house, so I'm going to bring you guys out here. And switch you guys around again. Okay, so I did not get very much of a pepper harvest at all. This is really what it was. So I think next year I'm probably going to be starting plants indoors a lot sooner than I did. Because I didn't start anything until April, I think. But this is all we got, and none of it's ripe. These are the chocolate peppers. These are supposed to be brown. The pimento peppers, these are supposed to be red. And I noticed that some of them are even starting to rot. I just pulled that out just so you could see what it was doing just since I pulled it on Friday. This was normal, and it's rotting pretty quickly, so I'm not exactly sure. I'm guessing this has to be like a nutritional deficiency problem with the plants, because it seems to be universal. All the plants are being affected by whatever it is. And I also wanted to show you, okay, if it'll focus, For one, I've got my herbs and stuff that I brought in. And these are actually all the pepper plants from the garden. And they look like just a bunch of stems, which they are. I have completely defoliated these 100% because I learned something really, really, really cool that I didn't know before. Peppers are a perennial, which means they will grow back year after year after year, but I didn't know that because in Minnesota, everything dies in the winter, and so you have to replant. But I am going to see if we can't keep these pots alive. But I learned a big lesson with those other peppers that now have aphids. If I dug all these right out of the garden, and I was obviously concerned about bugs. So I defoliated them. I 100% checked the stems, and then I took my garden hose and sprayed off all the roots, 100%. It was just bare roots, and I stuck them in brand new sterile potting soil. So there is no chance of any bugs being in these plants or the soil or the pots or anything. They were all washed ahead of time, so I'm hoping that we got ahead of that. And we're going to try and overwinter these. So there is, all of these are different varieties. I took one of each, I think one of each, determining on how they looked. I didn't have anything labeled, so we'll see in the spring, I guess. But yeah, so we'll see if these survive. I'm not quite sure what to do with my herbs yet, if I should try to keep them alive or if I should harvest them and just overwinter them like the peppers. I guess we'll see. And I wanted to, these are not from my garden. These are actually from my grandpa's orchard. He passed away 2 years ago, and I have been helping upkeep the orchard in his memory and to keep all his hard work going, and so that our family can benefit from the food too. I have about 4 crates like this full of apples that I need to process, so we will be doing that. And before we go outside, I am going to bring you downstairs to show you my tomato plants. Okay, so the tomato plants, what we did, I'm going to try and walk down these stairs without falling on my face on a live, because I've done that before. Okay, so the tomato plants we all took and we cut at the base, and we brought them inside and we hung them upside down. And all 28 plants are down here. I'm going to switch you guys around now. Okay. And we learned our first lesson. I really should have put a blanket down on this concrete here, because yes, it is concrete. The floors are not finished. So that's a tomato, and it looks like it's a little smashed up because it fell on the floor. So I think we might have to lay a blanket down so that we don't ruin all of our tomatoes that are potentially might fall off these plants. Otherwise, I can probably even maybe lay them down on their sides. I'm just concerned about mold. That's why I had them hanging up. We had another one fall off. It looks like it's just starting to ripen. It's one of the speckled Romans. These are super pretty. But it does look like we have lots of ripening tomatoes in here. So this is definitely doing the trick. The only thing I notice is anywhere where there was emaciated blossoms or anything like that, it looks like it's turning a lot faster than it probably normally would, and that's probably because it's still on the vine. So I think I'm going to come and pick anything off that's starting to blush right away, especially this big one, so it doesn't fall on the floor, because I think that's the gold medal. That's the big one. That, oh no, never mind, this is the big one. And it looks like we got some rot starting, so I don't know if this is blight from the plant itself, or if maybe I was a little slow at getting everything inside on the frost day. I'm not positive, but we do got ripening tomatoes here, so we'll see. And I'll have to find out which ones are the evergreens, because I guess they just won't ripen. We'll have to feel for the softness of them. But, and then we got the ground cherries hanging and drying so they can hopefully finish ripening. Everything was kind of a bust this year. Lots of learning experiences. I'm going to bring you guys outside and show you what is left of the garden after I tore almost everything out. Okay. We'll walk back upstairs. All over the place. Okay. Okay. Ooh, hold on, one more time. These flowers were the last of the color from my garden before the frost came. I just wanted to show that off because they're super pretty. Okay. Go outside. Ooh, and it's raining. Fabulous. Okay. This is what we're gonna do. Good morning, Wet. Love you, girl. Okay, switch this around. Okay. Don't want to rain on my phone. Everything up here, we've just we cut down all the greens to save them. We took off most of the tomatoes that were ready to go off these, and all this dirt's just going to be dumped in the garden, and we'll wash all these up and put them in the shed with the rest of the stuff. And always, guys, I'm huffing and puffing by the end of the live, and I'm sorry. I got asthma. Ooh, guys. Crap ton of red raspberries. I know you can see that. Good shit right there. Sorry. It slips. And these are pretty much just dying off dead from the frost. I did pick the tomatoes that were on there, and they rotted almost immediately. So I'm not exactly sure, but guys, look at my garden. It's so bare. Oh, it makes me want to cry. But we got all the cages stacked up because these aren't going to fit in my shed. We still got some weeding yet to do to clean this up, and we're going to till in some nutrients and stuff to sit over winter so that we have a good start next year. But the cucumber trellises are all down. The tomatoes are all clipped up. You still got the Brussels sprouts out there because those are okay. All the flowers are clipped. All the peppers. He's still got a kohlrabi going. It's a little knocked over. All the beans. I gotta come pick through these and make sure that there's no beans that are going to sprout up in the spring, because we want to choose what we plant and where. And all of the kale and the cabbage is looking so beautiful. This frost has just been so kind to these guys, which I'm glad that I at least have something still growing out here. And the radishes, the plants, the tops look like the frost might be getting to them, so we might try to pull those. And the carrots, we've just been slowly harvesting a few here and there whenever we need them. And they're just still looking really great. We pulled up them ground cherries, of course. They're all in the basement with the tomatoes. So, I mean, it's just so bare. Leaves and weeds, and oh, you can see the beautiful trees though. Look at that. My phone doesn't even pick up the colors. It's fantastic. I gotta take my tent down. Okay, guys, it's starting to rain really hard here. I don't know if you can see it, but that's everything for today, and I look forward to next week because I think we're going to start having some new things to talk about. So I will catch you guys next week. Go plant yourself.